Hey guys, George at SoundTraxx here. Now, we've talked a lot about various features and so forth about the decoders, especially when it comes to the functioning brakes that we have in our Tsunami 2 and our Blunami decoders. Well, one of the questions that's come up is how do you set the brakes on the app in your Blunami decoders, and what does make trains stop slower and make trains stop faster? What do those mean? Well, we're going to cover that today, so let's get started. Now, in the app, as you know, you can make all of your settings and adjustments using the app without ever having to worry about CVs. And that's a great thing, and it's really helping the Blunami take off, because one of the biggest things I hear from people is, I don't want to set CVs because you have to do CV bit math and you have to calculate all those numbers and play with it. The app makes it easy because everything's done by menu. But when it comes to the braking, the exciting function braking that we've got in our decoders, where not just making a noise, but you can also slow your locomotive independent of the throttle. And I'm going to show you how to do that with the Blunami app here today. So first off, we're going to go into the settings here. Now, I've already preset these locomotives, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing. We're going to jump into this PA right here. So we're going to hit our gear setting on our screen. And the first thing we're going to do in this case, we're going to want to set some momentum. And the reason is because if you set a braking rate with no momentum, your locomotive is going to stop instantly because there's no momentum to subtract from. If you have no momentum and you add to make trains stop slower, then of course it will run whatever your braking rate. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to go into speed settings, and we're going to go up here to the top at speed settings. Now you can see I've got a nominal momentum here of a 25 acceleration and 50 decel. And what I'm doing is just giving just a little bit to start with. Now, if you guys are regular viewers of the channel, you know that I personally set my locomotives quite a bit higher, using an acceleration of 75 and a deceleration of 150. Because that way it gives my locomotive some time for that momentum to kick in and the dynamic exhaust sounds to allow the decoder to respond. But that's not what this video is about. So we're just going to talk about this. So right now I've just got a little bit of nominal momentum in, and I've set both of these locomotives up to match the same. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go out of speed settings, and now we're going to go to our sound settings, because our braking rate is actually found with the sounds of the independent brake, which is what I'm going to show right now. So we go to other sounds and we scroll down just a little bit here, and we see independent brake apply. Now the first thing there is the volume. I've set that to a value of 50, so it's quiet, not overpowering and piercing, but you can adjust it however you like. Now below that you'll see rate, and rate is determining how much braking you're going to do. And so here you have a rate between 1 and 127 to determine whether you add or subtract from your momentum deceleration rate set in CV4 or in the menu I mentioned earlier. So here you see I've got a value of 50 where it says make trains stop slower. So what that's going to do is that's going to add 50 to the deceleration rate we have of 50, meaning this locomotive is going to take a deceleration rate of 100. So it's going to take a few moments for it to come to a stop. Now, just by comparison here, we'll go ahead and get out. We're going to go to our Milwaukee Road 18. Now, remember, I've set my momentum to match already, so we're going to go ahead and go to sound settings, other sounds, and again, we're going to scroll down here to independent brake apply. You'll see that, again, the volume is set to 50. But then my brake rate is also set to 50, and this says make trains stop faster. And what that's going to do is that's going to subtract 50 from our deceleration rate that we set in our speed settings, which means 50 minus 50 equals 0, which means it's going to come to an instant stop. So you can use these braking rates to either add momentum when you're slowing a train down to simulate a heavy train behind you, but still give you that instant start and stop when you're running your train light, doing switching or whatever. You can also do this to where it will simulate the engine cutting the throttle, coasting to a stop as the brakes are set, simulating the momentum not just of the locomotive, but of any freight cars or anything else that's behind it. Now, as I mentioned, this one here is going to take longer to slow down. This one's going to take shorter or stop faster. And I've consisted these to make sure that the command is sent at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and release the brakes. And you can see in the screen here that they're consisted together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give it a nominal speed. You can see that the locomotives start moving together. But what's going to happen is when I set the brakes, you'll notice this guy stops instantly, but the PA continues to run as the brakes are being applied, and it eventually comes to a stop. But you can see that it's added momentum to the track. And I just accidentally lost track power, but you get the idea. So now, instead of a deceleration rate of 0, we have a deceleration rate of 100. And that's kind of what the make train stop faster, make train stop slower does, is it will either add or subtract the momentum. So once you see how these decoders behave, you can understand how those settings are. So when it comes to the braking, like we've talked about in videos in the past, I recommend you experiment with it and try to find the settings that you like yourself. Now, also, we're going to go ahead and go in here into the settings. And when we go to the sound settings, you'll notice that we also have the train brake application, apply and release, and you have a volume, and then of course there's a rate there as well, and you can make train stop slower or faster. So on my personal stuff, I tend to have my train brake set at a higher rate and stop slower because I've got thousands of tons of equipment behind me, whether it be freight cars, coal train, whatever, pushing that locomotive down the track. So I want to simulate that, so I have to plan ahead a little bit further. But you can do exactly the opposite if you choose. You can have your start-stop instant throttle settings, but then when you want to simulate the momentum, you can add the brake. You can always turn the brake off if you need to stop instantly. Let's say you're coming around the corner, and I'll blame Tom because he's not in the room. Let's say his train's derailed, and you want to catch up with his train. You realize, oh crap, I'm not going to stop in time. You can always turn off the brake, and then your train will stop instantly as you bring your throttle to a stop. So you can adjust these how you like. So for those of you guys out there, I encourage you to experiment with this and see how you like it. If you have any questions, give us a call or an email here at the office, and we'll be happy to help answer any questions we can for you. And don't forget to check the manuals as well. So guys, that's everything I've got for you today. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, like I said, give us a shout. We're here to help. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Click the like below and leave a comment. Let us know if this video is helpful for you and if you learned anything. And if there's any other topics you'd like us to cover explicitly, this was a user requested topic. And so therefore, let us know. Send us an email, put a comment down on the video description below, and we'll get a video shot covering the topic that you have questions on. So that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.